Just minutes ago, a man was pulled out of the rubble of a collapsed home in Beloit after it exploded. This is just one of the areas in Grant County that was severely damaged by last month's flooding. We learned today that 43-year-old Cheryl Gilberg of Mazamani was shot in the head on Sunday and later found by a family member in her home on Scott Street. It is definitely quite the mess out here already at this hour. You can see the snow coming down. It's coming down pretty hard, expected to do so for the rest of the day. A school bus filled with middle schoolers collides with an ambulance in Washington County, injuring 6 people. Until this year at Black Earth Elementary, anyone could just walk right into the school. But now, everyone needs to be screened through a brand new security system before being let in. It may look like someone's bedroom, but it's actually a business. For a fee, you can get inside and snuggle up with someone.
If someone does fall through the ice, the lake rescue team uses this Argo to get to them, wearing these flotation suits.
An attempted homicide in a Madison home leaves a woman hospitalized and a man now in custody.
Before we warm back up by next weekend. You're so excited. Look at the smile she has.
Do you see this? This is not fake. This is real. I'm really excited about this forecast.
All I knew was I needed to bring warmer weather for you to be happy. I would just do that all the time.
You've known. That's all I've been asking from you for months. That's the one thing I wanted from you.
Well, spring's coming. I have better news.
Okay.
It's streets like these that some of us walk daily, where children could be selling themselves for basic necessities.
I would sleep with them for a place to stay. Whenever they wanted it, I pretty much provided.
A woman we'll call Jane because she didn't want to be identified says she started trading sex for a place to stay and food to eat when she was just 10 years old.
I went down to State Street.
The only way to not see this is to not look.
Sexually abused by a neighbor, bullied at school, and ignored by her parents, Jane ran away from home.
I really didn't want to go home, so I just did what I felt like I had to do to stay away from that.
National statistics show 30% of kids who run away will be trafficked within 48 hours. Joanne Gruberhagen with Dane County's Human Trafficking Awareness Coalition, Slave Free Madison, works with survivors.
Most of them say, I can't stay here anymore. It's absolutely intolerable. I've got to go, and where will I go? Well, she goes to the streets.
Other runaways, we would stay in the basement of apartments.
Numerous partners most nights of the week, but Jane said she finally felt accepted.
I just really didn't feel like I belonged anywhere, and the people downtown at least made me feel like I was acceptable, and they just accepted me the way that I was.
This continued for years. When she was 16, Jane responded to an ad for modeling, which turned out to be another avenue of trafficking.
Essentially, them asking for me to sleep with them.
She then responded to another ad for what seemed more legitimate, a magazine soliciting job in Minnesota.
I just sort of wanted to get out of Madison. I thought that maybe that would help me start over my life.
But she didn't even make it past Chicago, swept up by a pimp right when she stepped off the train.
I worked the street in Chicago for a little while.
Now prostituting herself with several partners every night on hard drugs just to get through it, and answering to a pimp that would beat her if she didn't listen. She realized it'd gone too far.
I just didn't want to go home.
But it's something that became a lifestyle for Jane, taking part in some sort of sexual exploitation for about 17 years of her life.
They want out, but without any help, where do they go?
Bad relationships and many bad friendships and many bad, things, and I don't know how to say no to people.
At 29 years old, Jane is just now coming to terms with her life of trafficking.
When you stop doing this sort of stuff, then it's and then what?
Now with a GED, 2 boys, and her first legitimate job.
Don't start. It's not worth it.
But Jane is just one of more than 200 trafficking victims in Wisconsin, according to Slave Free Madison, and those are just the ones recorded.
Nobody reports it because nobody knows what it looks like, and nobody wants to know it's there.
It's a hidden crime with a lack of understanding, statistics, and convictions. Only 24 cases in Dane County since 2009, 4 prosecuted under federal law and 2 under state law.
Judges don't understand the issue. Juries don't understand the issue.
Nobody did anything, really.
But with recent statewide action and response, Joanne and other members of anti-trafficking organizations are hopeful.
It won't take 30 years, perhaps, for us to come to recognize that this is a problem here locally and to do something about it.
The hardest thing for victims to do is to come forward and ask for help. But as shown by Jane's story, it's the best thing you can do. In downtown Madison, Britni McDonald, NBC 15.
Well, this woman is known in the community, a school board member and business owner. Before we headed to court today, we sat down with the executive director of the nursing home. He said her scheme was so sophisticated, it went unnoticed for 10 years. Now he's just hoping for justice.
Trusted employee of 31 years.
The state of Wisconsin versus Joyce M. Zealy.
That trusted employee sat in court today for allegedly stealing more than $850,000 from the New Glarus nursing home.
Even our independent accounting firms, it was very hard to track her scheme that she was doing.
55-year-old Joyce Zealy, a secretary and bookkeeper at New Glarus home for more than 30 years, allegedly stole the money over a 10-year period from accounts she was hired to keep track of.
Went unnoticed.
New Glarus Home Executive Director Rick Colby said it wasn't until January of last year that someone finally noticed.
We changed over accounting software 2012 to 2013. At that point, it was discovered.
Another bookkeeper found discrepancies while Zealy was on vacation.
Do you know why she might have done that?
Have no idea.
But today in court,
They know that that number is not true.
Zealy's attorney Robert Duckstad claimed that the $850,000 accounted for in the criminal complaint wasn't an accurate amount.
The amount taken was, if taken, was not anywhere near the amount they had claimed.
Sir, you said it wasn't $850,000. Is there an accurate amount if that's not accurate?
But both Zealy and Duckstad refused to answer any of our questions after the hearing.
This is your chance to give a comment.
Colby said it's a minor loss for the home and doesn't affect those living there.
The alleged complaint was 1.5% of our budget, so it's a very low amount of our budget that she was siphoning off, and no resident funds were ever taken.
Now, the criminal complaint states Zealy stole the money to pay off credit card debt from a company she and her husband owned. The New Glarus Homes executive director says she was immediately fired, and they've since enhanced segregation of duties. It may look like someone's bedroom, but it's actually a business. For a fee, you can get inside and snuggle up with someone. A service people working here say is all about unconditional love.
There's this whole part of us that gets neglected a lot of the time.
In a typical setting above a downtown Madison bar is the Snuggle house. Inside, several bedrooms laid out for therapeutic cuddle sessions.
We have beds, we have couches.
Stress levels go down, you feel better, you know, anxiety in a lot of people just kind of dissipates.
Clients pay for an hour of service that isn't restricted to hitting the sheets.
If you want to curl up and lay down and just some good old-fashioned snuggling, you can do that. If you want to sit and talk, if you want to cry on my shoulder, I'm totally cool with that.
Lonnie Johnson's one of 5 employees who says the Snuggle house provides a controlled environment for what he says should be a way of life.
I would love to see everybody do this in general, you know, as a way of living. The legitimacy of a business, you know, can really, it sets people at ease.
They've reached out to the VA, nursing homes, and others who may be neglected of affection.
A safe place people can go to really be consoled and comforted and like feel that warmth of human love that doesn't have any undertones.
And kind of creep me out a little bit.
But not everyone's convinced.
You kind of wonder what they're up to in there.
The Snuggle house is in the final stages of inspections before opening, but already with nearly 100 appointments made. The city of Madison is concerned the business has a potential of prostitution, but the Snuggle house ensures their services are strictly non-sexual.
It's very much like a doctor's office.
Security-wise, protocol-wise, we are covered, and we are not negotiating in any way any of those situations.
But first, something I've been waiting to say all winter, and you've probably been waiting to hear. A warming trend is upon us, and I mean temperatures above freezing. So we'll send it over now to NBC 15 meteorologist Brian Dukes with the good news. Brian, and even with the warm up, it's still not warm enough for some here in Wisconsin. Many students and families are planning their spring break getaways, but the Better Business Bureau says before you do, be on the lookout for potential scams. A 20-year-old man is dead after he lost control of a snowmobile and crashed into a tree in Wheaton. The crash happened Friday night on a public snowmobile trail. The Chippewa County Sheriff's Department says the man was snowmobiling with 3 friends when he lost control. Authorities say speed and the driver's unfamiliarity with the trail contributed to the crash. Dozens of crews responded to an early morning fire at St. Lawrence Seminary High School in Mount Calvary. Nearly 200 students are safe after a 5-alarm fire at the boarding school. But the devastation of the fire is a firm presence among the students. Brett Lemoyne with our news partner WITI in Milwaukee has more on the building's history. Back here at home for 10 years, the Junior League of Madison helps girls have the prom experience without the prom budget. Good evening, everyone. I'm Britni McDonald. It's been the big story all week. Winter weather continues to be a burden for many here in Wisconsin. We've gone from extremely cold temperatures earlier in the week to snowfall earlier today. So what's in store for the rest of the weekend? To find out, we turn it over now to NBC 15 meteorologist Brian Dukes with our Weather Authority forecast. Brian. A De Pere man is dead after a snowmobile crash in northeast Wisconsin. The Florence County Sheriff's Office says it happened just before 2 this morning in the town of Tipler. The snowmobile apparently went off the road and hit a tree. The victim was identified as 48-year-old Russell Cross. Officials say he was wearing a helmet at the time but died on impact. Alcohol and speed appear to be contributing factors. Authorities are investigating a 4-alarm fire that destroyed a barn at a large Wisconsin egg farm. Well, tomorrow's the big day, and people all around Madison are preparing for football, food, and fun. But our business is worried the brutal weather will keep people at home this year. NBC 15's Max Hess went downtown today to find out. Today in Madison, a group of people celebrated an early Super Bowl Sunday of their own, but instead of dealing with pigskin, they were serving up soup. Are you predicting an early spring?
No.
What? What can't you
The groundhog might be true this year.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
You can't just say yes to make us feel a little bit better.
We'll find out tomorrow.
All right. Thanks, Brian. Stay with us. We have sports coming up next.